Greetings, fellow movie lovers. Welcome to 25 Cent Film, where we explore the world of cinema in the 21st century. I'm your host, McNeill Mullican, and I'm joined once again by your co-host, Justin Da Silva. Justin, how's it going today?
It's going very, very well. I'm so excited for this episode.
Yeah, me too. This was something we actually brainstormed in an episode a few weeks back that kind of came up in our conversation, and so now we're doing this today, which is our top five most misunderstood films of the 21st century. And today we have John Thomas back as a guest for this episode. So the three of us are going to be talking about our our top five most misunderstood films of the 21st century. How's it going, John?
It's going well. Happy to be here again. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. This is really exciting. So I guess to clarify for listeners, what we mean by misunderstood films are, in a way, you could say it's a fancy way of saying underrated. But I guess the caveat to it is that it's not just underrated. It's movies that we love that we believe mass audiences completely misunderstood. So at least for me, I can't speak for you guys, but what that means for me is people are judging a movie based on something it's not. It's something they're judging it based on something they want that they want the movie to be, rather than what it is on its own terms. So that's at least how I perceive it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's pretty much the same. It's a movie that people just kind of have watched once and it's like it's BS, and they don't actually dive into it or watch it a couple more times and really study it and really take something else out of it, as opposed to just the first time it's not for me and that's it. It's like it was crap without actually giving a good explanation. There's a couple that are like that. And it's like, okay, what value are you bringing with that? Just because you don't like it, and then that's it, and you have nothing else to say. It's like, give me a little more. And so I really do feel like some of these films are very much underrated and misunderstood, and honestly should be watched again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tagging on to that, the face value-ness of especially a lot of current theater people who like say they love movies and say they love going to the theater, but they just do it to check it off the list kind of thing. That's where I think this episode stemmed from, with obviously one specific movie that me and McNeill talked about, but it goes hand in hand with, that one came out over a decade ago, so it's been going on for years and years. Even probably before we were on this earth. But it's just, I feel like it gets more apparent every single year with rage bait and all that crap that comes with social media. So today is the day where this is the day of reckoning for us towards all of those people who didn't like the films that we love, and will die on this hill.
Yeah, and one last thought I kind of had based on what Justin just said made me think about this is, especially when you talk about rage bait and all that kind of stuff, with the digital age and the internet and social media, instant gratification, all that stuff. If a movie comes out right before, like a press screening or its premiere right before it's open to the world, and one negative thing comes out, it kind of like it spreads like wildfire, and then everybody goes in and then magically comes out with the same opinion. And I think that also happens with a couple of the movies on my list are that way, and I imagine it's going to be that way for you guys as well. And I feel like back in the day, kind of like what Justin was referring to, people's opinions are more organic. You'd watch a movie, you had no, preconceived notion of what it would be, and then it, jinx, and then it ends up, you have your own opinion, and you might love it, or you might hate it, and then afterward is when you find out this is what people think. You already kind of go in knowing at this point, which, I guess that's a gift and a curse of the digital age. But yeah. So without any further ado, let's get started. I guess, John, since you're the guest, why don't you go first, and then I guess Justin and I will decide who's going to go from there. So let's start with your number five.
So my number 5 is a film that came out in 2011, and it was very much anticipated. Um, but I do feel like this film, unfortunately, gets a bad rap, or people just really don't care because there's been multiple sequels. And this was the film that brought back the original director of the first three, and that is Wes Craven's Scream 4.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's an
Yes.
interesting pick. That's an interesting pick.
Yes. Yeah, I really feel like Scream 4 was a response to Scream 3. Scream 3 had a lot of
Yeah.
production problems, the Weinsteins, first and foremost.
Hmm.
The tragic stuff that was happening in the real world with murders. Unfortunately, that kind of correlated with the Scream films, unfortunately, with mysterious phone calls, stuff like that. So the Weinsteins and whatnot, they were very much under pressure by not doing a lot of violence, and so that film was heavily cut, as far as the violence and just everything. And it feels way too much like a Scooby Doo film, very much 2000s. I still enjoy it. It's definitely the worst out of the Scream franchise for me. But Scream 4 was the response to that. And I think, and what's great is Kevin Williamson came back to kind of help out with the story. He didn't write it, but he did help out with the story. So I feel like elements of Kevin Williamson are still there. And Wes Craven coming back and just no holds bar, mean spirited. Ghostface at the time, Scream 6 kind of starts. Scream 6 kind of uh, ups the ante with that, but Ghostface in Scream 4 is just no holds bar
Hmm.
rage. I mean, there's a scene with a particular character. She gets gutted, and the way Craven shoots that is incredible. And it's like, whoa. So you have those dark elements, and then you also have some levity in it too, and it works well. And I think that works well and with Scream 1 and Scream 2,
Hmm.
more so than Scream 3. I feel like Scream 3 was a lot of comedy. And of course the returning cast, the OGs coming back too. I just think that because of the Scream 3 and also just the plethora of other slasher films that came out after it. Also, Scary Movie has definitely kind of hurt the Scream franchise a little bit. Like I remember way back when I watched the fourth film, there was two of my friends that came over and hung out, and they're like, "Oh, this is." They started laughing when they saw Ghostface. And it's like, "Oh, it's Scary Movie," and it's like, "Oh, okay." Kind of ruined the film for me for a little bit because I was like, I'm into it, but they're not because they're just goofing off. And yeah, it's satirical and it's funny, but it's also like, did you not see the clever writing, but also some pretty intense stuff? I would recommend definitely giving Scream 4 a shot, especially after Scream 5, the awesome Scream 5 and Scream 6 came out.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like Scream 4 is just misunderstood and needs a rewatch for people.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll second that because I think it was either at the beginning of this year or toward the end of last year, I binged through the whole Scream series,
Nice.
and I agree. Like, so I've seen Scream 4 at the bottom of a lot of Scream rankings, and I like it's not near the top, but
Hmm.
there's a clear worst, and that, like you said, is Scream 3. Scream
Hmm.
4 might still have a little bit of that like cartoonish element. Like Emma
Yeah.
Roberts, I don't buy her as like the main big bad,
Hmm.
but at the same time, like the movie was like a course correction. It
Hmm.
rediscovered its footing, and it felt like a return to form for Scream. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Agreed.
I'll yeah, for sure. Scream 4. That's a good pick.
Perfect.
Yeah, really
Justin, do
good.
you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
I'm good to go next.
Okay,
Uh,
let's do
I'll
it.
keep mine. This is one of the picks I mentioned before we started rolling that uh, I have not seen in a while. I've been having such a hankering to watch again. I've told John multiple times every time I'm back in Florida, I mention it for sure. So, having said that, I'm gonna need one John's help a little bit to fill in
Might
some
need to
holes
phone a
if I-
friend.
Phone a friend. There we
Boy.
go.
Yeah.
Hello.
But nonetheless, it is Prometheus.
Ah,
I
very nice.
Since the first time I watched that movie, I don't even know. I think that was the first Alien movie I had seen, which could go into why I like it so much and why I would say I love it. But I don't know. Like, I didn't know that people didn't like it when I saw it. I thought it was one of those that was like, oh, it's one of the biggest blockbusters of this year type of thing. Like, obviously, it's the year Inception came out and Tron Legacy, but it was the past of that franchise that had a lot of people hating on it because, you know, the marketing of it was just not what people didn't get. What was marketed is what the core of this problem with this film was. But I don't think that should directly correlate to how the film is received, because when you watch it, it actually, I don't know, for me at least, it intrigues me more than some of the other Alien sequels and or ones that came before, because of all of the, I mean, first of all, the visuals, aesthetic of it I love, but also it has this, like, for lack of a better word, it has an aura about it that,
Yes.
yeah, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's got this
Yeah.
sense that most films don't have, and the Alien franchise as a whole does have that vibe, like the original Alien and Aliens ups the ante for sure. But I think this one does it too. Like, it does it in its own unique way that I think the only other one that followed up with that was Romulus. But I don't know, there's something about Prometheus specifically. I don't know if it's Fassbender's performance, because that's just great in and of itself. But yeah, but you seem like you're going to say something.
It's really Scott's direction. It's classic sci-fi. That's that's the core of this film. It's classic sci-fi, the exploration. Like it's a film that you could pop in and you're in for a ride and you're able to just enjoy the visuals, the characters, the drama, the horror, the suspense, uh everything about it is incredible. Um but yeah, no, I think it's misunderstood for sure. I would honestly say it's better than for me. It's better than Romulus. Fight me.
Yeah, it's better than Romulus.
I think Romulus is just a fan film. Fight me. But
Wait, you don't like Romulus?
I like Romulus, but
okay.
it's not. It's very much. People are overhyping it. I think because it's literally Alien repackaged. It's literally Aliens repackaged. It's literally Prometheus repackaged.
Yeah.
You know, it really is like that. And at least with Prometheus, they had the balls to not do callbacks. Why the hell would somebody say "Get away from me, you bitch" in that film? When Ripley says that, it makes no sense.
That is a good point with Romulus.
It's a cash grab. It's
Yeah.
Hollywood. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
The performances are incredible. The direction is incredible as well. Fede Alvarez, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fede Alvarez is he's great. I really love his Evil Dead remake. Crap, that's actually a good one too. This is an honorable mention.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy it, and people were wanting a proper Alien sequel or prequel, and I think it still is a pretty good Alien prequel for sure. But does it do something new?
Yeah, it's new. Like, it's not the
Yeah.
same run of the mill. Like, I mean, yeah, like what you said with Romulus, I could see that point. I do love it, but I also have Alien. I mean, obviously, definitely Prometheus is my favorite Alien film, and then Aliens right below it.
Yeah.
It's a fight between.
Wait, which one are you
Romulus-
saying is your favorite Alien film?
Prometheus,
Okay. I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure. I heard.
Prometheus.
Alien,
and then it's a fight between Aliens and Romulus for me.
watch Alien and Aliens pretty soon here, and then come back to us with that one.
Oh, I will, because I'm watching
So-
Alien Earth right now, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to side with the masses on this one. I am not huge on Prometheus. No, I'm not a hater. But I don't like it either, because this is like, I get where you guys are coming from, but I guess I'll give the masses perspective, which is, I feel like Prometheus despite Ridley Scott's direction being, competent for, compared to some other Ridley Scott films, because he's done much better, I think it doesn't know what it wants to be. On one hand, it's trying to be this sci-fi epic that's exploring all of these philosophical and existential ideas about the origins of, the whole Alien franchise. And then it's also trying to be a body horror film. And I don't really think it goes together. You've got great elements in it. Like the visuals are some of the best in the franchise. Michael Fassbender is phenomenal in it. Like it's got a lot going for it. And I will agree with Justin when saying it is one of the most intriguing entries in the franchise. But I think it is in terms of what its potential was or what it could have been. I personally feel like this is just like my own taste coming through here, but I feel like if it were more of the philosophical, existential exploration of the alien origins rather than body horror in the back half, if it stayed on track with that, I would have been way more on board, because that was what was different in the franchise. At that point, like when it was honing in on those things, it didn't feel like a rehash, and it didn't feel like another just, blood and guts fest. But that's also not what interests me. I thought the origins of the Alien franchise was interesting, and it didn't fully come together for me. But I also I get the appeal of it. So I'm not a hater, but again, I don't like it either. But
question about that. Is that response? Did you see Alien Covenant?
Yeah, I did not like Covenant.
Yeah,
you like Prometheus more?
Yeah, I would take Prometheus over Covenant. So Covenant, I think, was just kind of.
Yeah, it was really Scott's response to people not liking Prometheus, and so then we just got another Alien film with a little bit here and there, but it's very much another. It's literally Alien point 5.
Yeah, and I feel like what Ridley Scott did with Covenant was he leaned into the negatives of Prometheus, at least in my eyes. He leaned into more of like the body horror side of Prometheus rather than leaning into more of like the questions that it's asking and I guess it's ideas that it was offering. But it was more like here's another alien ride, and I don't know. I was like, if I want to watch this, I'm going to watch one of the first two.
Yeah, but that's exactly what we got with Romulus. Is here's another alien ride.
But I feel like that one was
is
like
packaged.
That one did it like well. I don't. It's not like I wasn't way up there with everybody else. It wasn't like one of the best movies of the year. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it, and then I never thought about it again.
I'm in the same boat. I do think it's. This is just my opinion. I do think it's way too overblown by some people, and I'm just like, what am I missing here? There's enough that I'll take Prometheus going into a direction that's intriguing over a high budgeted fan film.
See, that's the thing.
That's well done. That's well done, but it's a fan film.
That's the thing. Like, people will complain that Prometheus doesn't make sense sometimes. But the fact of, I correlate it to Tenet, where people's complaint is like, I don't understand it. I have so many questions, and it's like, okay, but that leads you to want to keep rewatching it. Whereas if you have all the answers, a la Romulus, it's like, okay, I remember exactly what happened. I'm not curious to visit it again. And I know that's kind of, people are, it's a cop-out. Like, well, why don't you make a good movie that gives me answers while also being ambiguous? It's like, well, that's Romulus versus Prometheus. And I'm not making this a versus thing, but that's where I'm at with Prometheus, where it's like, I genuinely still have questions to this day, no matter how many times I watch it. But I like that.
The thing with Prometheus is like I've seen it multiple times, and like it brings up the same questions, and it's like it's never going to resolve them because it kind of abandoned its first half, and it went for what would be crowd pleasing rather than like actually be ballsy and commit to the philosophical side of it. It didn't give me enough to like find more to rediscover upon rewatches. You know what I mean? But that's just where I am. But we should probably move on from Prometheus because we'll be here for another probably 5 to 10 minutes if we
agreed.
If we
sorry, guys.
I had to open the door at least though to try and
Oh,
Yeah.
well, just know that that's not my hottest of my picks according to what I know about your taste and what I like.
Me or
All right.
John?
Both of you guys. I think one
Oh,
of these
okay,
movies is going
okay.
to trip you both up pretty bad.
Go
I'm
for it.
excited about it. I like a good debate. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 5, I don't think will provoke any debate at all because I mean, there's a chance John's seen it. If Justin's seen it, I will probably like lose my mind because I don't think this is a movie he's seen at all. Maybe even heard of, which is a film I talked about in the 2008 episode, made my list. Clint Eastwood's Changeling.
Nope.
Oh no, I
I
have
don't think
not.
I've ever seen an Eastwood film, unfortunately.
Oh, I've seen quite a few.
Never?
But this one, that one missed me.
So
It was
Changeling is
funny.
it kind of went under the radar the year it came out. It was overshadowed by Gran Torino,
Yeah.
which is a fine movie. I think it's overrated. Changeling is, of the two Clint Eastwood movies that came out in 2008, in my opinion, is the far better film. It's a biopic starring Angelina Jolie, who plays a mother who was living in Los Angeles during the early 20th century, and her child goes missing. And the police did not get involved for the until the first 48 hours were over. And once they did, there's no sign of her son at all. And then the rest of the film is her search for him and all the trials and tribulations she goes through to try and get her son back. The reason it's misunderstood isn't because people didn't see it or think it's worse than Gran Torino or anything like that. Whenever I read reviews of it and they just kind of say it's average or mid, whatever it is that they want to call it, I think people are wanting it to be something it's not. Changeling is a biopic about a mother's love for her son and how she's trying to find him, and it's, her story, everything she goes through. Some people wanted it to kind of be more about the police perspective, or there's a pastor that gets involved in really helping Angelina Jolie's character, trying to, he's trying to, I guess, bring justice to the situation, and people wanted to know more about him. They wanted to know more about the insane asylum they put her in. They wanted to know more about there is a potential serial killer that her son may or may not have crossed paths with. They wanted to know more about that. They wanted to know more about all these other things that are in the story. But it's like the story touches on each of these things, but it's things the mother has to go through in order to reach the conclusion of the story, which I'm not going to spoil for you guys because you haven't seen it. If you choose to watch it, then, I don't want to give it away. But people just judge it for something it's not. Like, it has all these genres kind of blended in together. It's got a bit of mystery, crime, drama, all these things. But at the end of the day, it's a biopic about a mom trying to find her son, and it's about her determination and her, like, she never gives up. She's always on the go, no matter how hard of a hand she's dealt. She's just always sticking through it, and I think it's a very powerful story. Angelina Jolie turns in one of the greatest performances of her career, and Clint Eastwood knocked it out of the park with the direction, in my opinion. And I just think it's a great movie, and I wish people could kind of see through all of its different genres that it's tackling, because I think it blends them all very nicely to tell the story that from the angle of the mother's perspective, and not all these other things people were wanting to know more about, because I think it gives an adequate amount of each. So Changeling is my number 5.
Man, you sold me. I'll definitely check that out sometime.
Dude,
Sure.
I watched that movie for the first time probably close to 5 years ago now, I think, and I watched it and I was just like blown away. Like, it's one of those movies where the credits roll and you go like,
Yeah.
because it's so heavy. Like,
Yeah.
it's like Prisoners Mystic River heavy.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah.
you sold me on that because I do love me some prisoners.
Haven't seen it
That's
either.
awesome.
It's not quite as suspenseful as Prisoners, but like in terms of subject matter, like it's similar idea.
Right. Right.
And less of like Hugh Jackman's rage and more of Angelina Jolie's desperation. So, yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah. And the mother's name is
pick.
Christine Collins, by the way. I was trying to remember her name, and I'm terrible with character names generally, but it's not like a super well-known one. And obviously that movie's not. But yeah, great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. That's my number 5.
I've never heard of that, which is crazy.
Exactly
I mean, not
what
crazy
I expected.
for me, I guess, but yeah,
Yeah.
you expected it. I really wish I had seen it, dude. That would have rocked your socks off. All right.
All right. Circling back to John's number 4.
Okay, so this is kind of in the same boat. You're going to see a running theme with these films, but it's definitely it's a sequel to a franchise that has been run to the ground and has had shit sequel after shit sequel. And when you really think about it, and when you rewatch it, it's actually, not that bad. It at least does something new, or at least tries to do something new, which is great. And stellar cast, interesting choice of director. I'm not gonna lie, wouldn't be my first choice, but I think he does a great job, and the visual effects are incredible. Music's great, and it helps move the storyline forward. And unfortunately, they were fearful and didn't want to continue that. That is 2009's Terminator Salvation.
Wow, that's not where
I
thought
will
you were
agree
going.
with you. I will actually agree with you on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not perfect. I
No,
could
no.
100% say that it's not perfect, but damn, is it to me the Terminator 3 as opposed to Terminator 3 that came out before Rise of the Machines.
Yeah.
Which I will say, while Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines is not a good movie, that ending is incredible. That's a great ending. But when
I don't even remember that because how much I didn't like Terminator 3.
It's incredible. It's actually amazing. I kind of wish that film was exactly. I wish the film was like that the entire time. But anyways, Terminator Salvation. It's good, man, and it takes place in the future war. People go wanting it. It's not what I would envision the future war to be, but it's enough of a gap between 2029, which we've seen all the flashbacks in the first two films. It's 2018. It gives enough leeway that this is the beginning, not the beginning of the war, but like we're still getting our bearings with everything. But it's the future war, and you see John Connor in his element. You see humans trying to fight for survival. You see the Terminators, Skynet. They're just ruthless machines without any remorse whatsoever. And I think the action's great. It's directed by Mick G, which he's directed music videos. He directed Charlie's Angel films.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely not the director I would have chosen. But if you watch a lot of interviews behind the scenes and him talking about the film, he was very much excited to do this film. And he wanted as much done in camera as much as possible. And the money is on the screen. It's epic, for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
But the only thing is, I wish that it had the James Cameron, the tech noir, which was a new genre that Cameron had developed with his first two films. They're tech noir films. I wish they had that. It's not perfect. Some of the storylines a little bit iffy, and then the new Terminator that comes in without giving much away. That's a little bit but like still though. It's misunderstood, but it's overshadowed by Terminator 3, Terminator Genesis, and Terminator Dark Fate. All were shit, and it's like I think this was the film that like if we had Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Terminator Salvation, I think it would have been a pretty damn good trilogy.
Yeah. Adding to that, because I will agree with you. I would say of all of the sequels that aren't Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Salvation is the only one that I actually enjoy. Like you said, Rise of the Machines, Genesis, Dark Fate, they're all garbage. However, Salvation, the reason it stands out to me is because it's the one that actually broke the formula of all the others. Like, they're all trying to follow the same formula that the first Terminator did, but Salvation broke it, and it's because it goes to the future war, like you're saying. It's not the greatest story ever. It doesn't necessarily have the best performances, although it has a stacked cast, because you've got Christian Bale, Sam Worthington, Helena Bonham Carter, Anton Yelchin, all these people.
Dude, yeah.
And it's just like, if you took McG out of the equation and put in somebody like, I don't know, like James Mangold probably could have been a good fit for it. Like, if you put somebody like him in there, I think Terminator Salvation could have had a better script and could have been maybe even just right there below the first two. But like, it had a lot of potential, kind of like one of these other movies we were talking about, potential Prometheus, you know. But I actually think this is an enjoyable movie because it offered something different, and I think for the most part did it successfully. Has its flaws, but it's still an enjoyable movie. And, you know, if I had to watch a Terminator movie that's not one of the first two, it'd be this one, hands down.
Agreed.
So yeah. And just like your Scream pick, it's interesting. It's like the third one was the big dip in quality, and then the fourth one kind of picks it back up a little bit. It's like we're starting to find its footing again, whereas the Scream films took it and ran with the rediscovering the footing. Terminator, like, just crashed and burned.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Hey.
Dude, you're shocking me. This is why we needed you on this episode. This was just solid picks.
Where's what's your number 4, Justin?
Oh boy.
Probably another one's gonna piss you off.
Hey, I wasn't pissed with Prometheus. Like, I get it. I actually wish I enjoyed it more than I did. I just I wanted more out of that front half than the back half. But
I
wanted more out of the back half than the front half. Anyway.
Yeah, I think either of these next two that I pick, John will side with me more than you will.
Okay.
So I think for this list, I'm going to go for the sake of popularity. I'll go with the lesser popular one because I feel like that bodes well for having it at 4 instead of putting it higher. This one came out in 2024. I think, again, I mean, I don't know. Marketing plays a huge role in movies and, you know, reception for sure. Mm-hmm. But I thought the marketing for this was fine. I just think, as we're talking about, I think people were expecting a completely different type of horror movie than this one delivered. And that is Trap. I think this, I know you guys are, both of you are laughing for different reasons, but
man.
No, okay, hear me out.
No. No.
I think this is such an interesting horror movie because it's not a horror movie at all. It's
a thriller.
It flips the script. On, it's a thriller. It flips the script on, like, okay, we're not seeing a killer go around and kill people. We're seeing how he's trying to escape from his situation. And the fact that it is a regular dude makes it better. I mean, if it was someone like Michael Myers, that would make no sense. But at the same time, why do people let Michael Myers or someone like that, a slasher icon, take the icon out of it? Why do we let that character type get away with the things that they do versus just because the fact that it's a regular dude and we're seeing his face the entire movie, he can't get away with some of the things he does with getting out of situations? That's one point that I think people are honing in way too much on with this movie. Stop laughing.
I'm not.
We're not laughing.
It's not my bird the bear. I'm not a quicksand.
No, it's. I don't care. I'm telling you guys. That's why I said I'll die on these.
I forgot that you loved this movie.
It just, dude.
Okay.
Because of the fact that it did not do what I thought it would do, and I love that about it. Like, I like some Shyamalan films. I didn't like some of his films. I haven't seen all of them, but I feel like he just did something different that most directors are not willing to do, like specifically in the thriller genre, where it's like you always see the same type of slasher, the same type of story beats and stuff, where it's like, oh, he got the kill, oh, the hero is gonna come back and win in the end type thing, oh, the killer's missing at the end. And it's like this one does that same thing where it's like ends up getting spoilers, he ends up getting out of the ambulance at the end. But it's like, I was laughing so much at the end. I was like, whoa, they actually did that. Like, I thought it was great. I thought the entire movie was great. And on top of that, it had a father-daughter relationship, which obviously hits, not that I'm a killer,
I was about to say.
I'll put that out there. But there is a strangely depicted connection with his family and relationship-wise, where it's like he presents himself as this loving father, but he's really a demented human. But at the same time, there is a care for his daughter. So like it has that weird tug on both sides. I don't know. Maybe I think
Justin,
I just saw something that
Have you ever heard of Dexter?
I have, but I haven't watched it because I don't know. I don't
What
know.
about you, John? Have you watched Dexter?
I have not, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I was hoping at least somebody would like at least get where I was going here, but
I know it's a popular show, but
yeah, I know it's very well regarded.
Serial killer who kills killers, puts on a facade, is the nice family man. I mean, he's like kind of like found family in a way, but also evil serial killer, but only kills killers. So like same idea, just has his own code. Whereas this guy, Josh Hartnett's character, is just like somehow manages to get himself out of every plot hole ever. Like I don't
see. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though. Like that's a
there's
valid
like,
point.
no,
but at the
there's
same
no
time,
thought in it.
But at the same time, we see Michael Myers. We see whatever other slasher icon you want to bring up. We see them get out of situations that they shouldn't be able to.
But here's
Like
the thing,
how does Michael Myers get out of bars in a house when he's on fire? How does he get out of that at the end of Halloween 2018? Like there's no explanation.
This character is more of a serial killer rather than the supernatural iconic slasher that is Michael Myers.
Supernatural for sure.
You have those tropes.
But at the same time, like how I mean, this is a genuine question. How supernatural have we seen Michael Myers be in the Halloween franchise? He feels, to me at least, in every situation I've seen him in, he feels more human than supernatural. I feel like the shape title is what makes him feel supernatural, but in a sense, he is still human. Like he's just like Split, where James McAvoy's character has got that extraordinary human capabilities. I think that's what Michael Myers lends to, but I don't know. Like, yes, Josh Hartnett's character is human, but why are we letting one get away with something, whereas
I'm not. I mean, like, but I'm also in a minority in this one thing. Like, with all those slasher franchises you reference, like, I'm not big of a fan. Like, I like the first Halloween fine. But slashers in general are not my thing. So, like, I give the same amount of forgiveness to those franchises as I do just this one-off movie Trap, which is like basically none, because like M. Night Shyamalan, I don't think he's like that great of a director. He had a hot streak in the late 90s and early 2000s, and then basically everything he's done since then is just hot garbage, Trap included. I feel like the dialogue is terrible. There's so many plot holes. Josh Hartnett as his character, I think, is absolutely terrible. Did not find him believable whatsoever. And I just I think the premise was really cool. I saw the trailer and I was like, Shyamalan might be back. And then I went to go see the movie and I was like, hell no. Like, this is just on par for the rest of Shyamalan's movies as of late, like Old and The Visit, which I also didn't like. I saw that coming from the beginning. It's like, how did The Visit?
Like
it's
Old.
like those clearly aren't the grandparents, like from the first shot. I'm like, this is where it's going. But Old was terrible. Old is the worst one, but Trap was just like.
Hey, wait, can I hear you say it? You like Trap more than Old?
Yeah, I'll say that.
I'll take it.
Trap at least has a better idea than Old, like on its surface. But like, I still thought it was so cringy. It also felt like Shyamalan made a movie to try and make his daughter a pop star and failed miserably.
So I didn't mind the movie.
I didn't even know it was his daughter.
I had problems with it for sure, but I didn't mind the movie because I felt like this was kind of a throwback. And see, I love slasher films, even the bad ones. Like I can't. It's September all right now. Like we're getting into fall season, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And we're getting into October season. And your boy over here is about to get some good old slasher and films on deck with some freaking Twizzlers, popcorn, you name it. I can't wait.
Slashers, Skittles, and
I
sushi.
love it. Oh yeah, wow, that's a combo. But so it felt like a throwback to those films with a little bit of a twist where you're following that killer. But I would not necessarily call it a misunderstood film in my opinion. That having his daughter be in the film and
Terrible.
that was too much for me. It was like whoa.
See, but coming from someone who didn't even know,
not knowing that, yeah, true.
I didn't know who that was. Which I mean, she kind of annoyed me. You're talking about the singer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the character annoyed me, but I didn't know that was his daughter, so I had no clue. But I get that point, but for not knowing, I didn't care about it as much, because I was just again focusing on how was he going to get out of that situation. She did annoy the crap out of me, but I don't know. I don't know. I could go on this for a while, but I know we got to move on. But like, I don't know. I think this is the one where I disagree with you guys the most out of the ones that I'll say. Most likely out of the ones that will be mentioned on this episode. Period. But I don't know. That's again why this episode exists.
I think like in a nutshell for me with Trap, it's just at the end of the day, I thought the writing was just terrible. Like it had a really cool concept on paper that I think, in better hands could have been a great film. But it's just like, it felt like it was written by a middle schooler. So many ridiculous plot holes, terrible dialogue, annoying characters, bad performances, great concept. That's how I feel about it. But I mean,
I would say watch it again,
but I respect your
it wouldn't
opinion.
Change anything?
I don't think it. I don't. Yeah, that's not one that I think my mind would ever change on.
We'll see. I mean, I don't think I'll have a movie that you'll say that I'll disagree as much as this. But if I do, I'm gonna listen to your opinion and respect the hell out of it. But we'll see.
I just don't think you've seen my next two, and then the top two I think you have, and I think I already know your opinion on them. So
okay. Well, we should move on. So far, I've had the hottest ones. As usual.
Yeah. I'll be the villain though. Like I'm fine with that being the guy that disagrees with everything. It's whatever. Because so far I've disagreed with both of Justin's picks.
And you've agreed with both of John's.
Yeah.
Here I am just smoking a cigarette, just kind of.
All right. So my number 4. This goes again. Like I think John has a better chance of having seen this film over Justin. Have either of you seen Adam McKay's 2021 satire Netflix original starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence? Don't Look Up.
No, I have not.
I've seen 30 minutes of it.
30 minutes.
I remember when that was coming out. Actually,
it's like like Christmas 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it lost me. Yeah, I lost that one, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it was
dude.
It was on at a family function, and
okay.
I think I was the one that asked to turn it off.
Whoa.
But at the same time, it was like it was probably 40 minutes in, and all I saw was DiCaprio like on a stand or something talking about, I don't know, politicians, or I don't even know what the state of the world.
I think you only saw like one scene.
Yeah, like I just I was not having it. But at the same time, I didn't want to watch a movie at the moment, so that could be
That's fair. Too. Yeah. So, I'll preface that I am a huge fan of dark comedies, satire. That is very much my kind of humor. The back half of Adam McKay's career, being The Big Short, Vice, and Don't Look Up, are very much up my alley. I'm not a big fan of slapstick. And the earlier half of his career, Step Brothers, Anchorman, The Other Guys, that kind of stuff, not my cup of tea. Don't Look Up is my personal favorite of his. That's biased, sure. However, I think people totally misunderstood the movie. I won't go into like heavy spoilers. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. But the premise of the film is that there is a meteor coming toward Earth, and it is going to hit. DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, they're the astronomers that discover this meteor coming toward Earth, and they're trying to warn the United States government and the world. This is happening, on this day. If we don't do something about this, we are all dead. And the movie was essentially a metaphor for COVID, because the point of the movie was to be provocative, of course, but also, kind of it's pointing out the division in modern day American society. And it's very much on the nose. It's got a lot of crazy over the top jokes, but it's pointing at, it's using like the over the topness of it to like point out the reality of a particular, not even a particular situation, like the current climate of today's, just existence of in the United States. And I thought it was interesting. Like, a lot of people would make complaints about how it was trying to tackle way too many things, way too many ideas, and it's like, not really. Like, here's a meteor, it is coming toward Earth, we're trying to stop it. End of story. Like, that's the movie. And sure, like, it's showing all of these, it kind of nods at all these different reactions from different people, like whether it is the government or random people on the street or the astronomers or news anchors or whatever. But it's like, when you're telling a story this frantic about something that has the potential to be that catastrophic, you kind of have to like tackle everything, because in that situation, everything is on the table. And so I thought like it was handled very well. Adam McKay, like, he has a very frantic style. Like, if you've seen his other movies, have you seen The Big Short or Vice, either of you?
I've seen both of them.
So you know how like the editing is like all over the place. It's really like it's rapid, crazy. Like it's insane. Like, Don't Look Up is very much the same way, and I feel like it feels reminiscent of what 2020 felt like, just like chaotic. Every time you open your phone, it's like, oh, something else has happened. You know what I mean? And so that's exactly the energy Don't Look Up captures. It captures the ridiculousness of the extremes on both sides, and all of just like the hypocrisy in it. And it's fascinating to me. And I like when a movie can kind of call out like the bad side of everybody and kind of, make you, I guess, do some self-reflection of like where you sit in a particular side of any situation. And it just, it's interesting. It highlighted how everybody's priorities are misaligned, how everybody is just, nobody wants to be on each other's side. Everybody just wants to have, something to go against their enemy. Like, they don't actually want to hear each other out. They just want to argue. Yeah. And I feel like that's very much the world we exist in. And Don't Look Up, it captures that so well. So, it's satirical, it's dark, it's over the top. I love it. I was laughing nonstop throughout the whole movie. There are so many funny one-liners I wish I could just like say, but you guys wouldn't get it because you haven't seen it. But it exposes the division in modern day America, and I think it does so brilliantly. I think Adam McKay is a great writer, great director. Performances are awesome in it, and it's got an amazing score. So I gotta
check that out. But that reminds me of there's a new movie that I think just came out not too long ago. It's starring I'm blanking. Why am I blanking with Joker himself? Why am I?
Eddington.
Eddington, yes.
I haven't seen it yet. I really want to. I plan to see it soon.
Yeah, so there's satirical moments in that, but for sure. But I've heard that it's very much more on the opposite side, where it's pretty intense and just the political side, but also stuff with what happened with COVID and stuff like that too, and people's responses and how people interact with each other, all that stuff, social climate. I heard that's a great film, but it's also a film that's like really makes you think like, oh my gosh, are we effed?
Yeah.
Like, are we effed?
And Don't Look Up, like, you feel that, you're like, man, we're screwed.
Yeah. I gotta check
it
out.
Done.
Man. Absolutely.
It's hilarious. If you watch Don't Look Up, let me know what your favorite joke is, because it is so funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hilarious. But yeah, that's my number 4. So now we're at John's number 3.
Okay, so number 3, probably is controversial, but more so in this specific community. Um, it took me a couple of times to watch it, and after watching it a couple more times, I'm like, this is actually a great film, and is very much misunderstood. That is Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
All right, we can't talk about it because it's on my list as well.
Okay.
Oh, so we're saving it for
man.
later. Ooh.
Oh man, this is gonna be long. This is already gonna be
Yeah.
long. Man, we kind of needed Sam on this one.
Oh,
But
yeah,
no, I
no,
think
but
we
it's
can
good
do it.
because
I
we're
think-
gonna gang up on McNeill.
I think we can do it. I think we can do it.
I'll take you both. I got this.
He's like Optimus. I'll take you all on.
Yep, exactly.
All right. That's the one I thought you were gonna say with your last pick because you were like, it's a sequel to a franchise, and then whatever.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm glad you said it before I did. But
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, my number 3. I feel like I don't know. Me and you, McNeil, talked about this on another episode, but I don't know if you'll have it on your list. But my number 3 came out in 2019. It's reviewed highly by a lot of people, but I feel like there is a massive audience that just shuns a film because of kind of ridiculous negative viewpoints that don't even really like that the film doesn't even portray. Like they're just looking at it at face value, and that is Joker 2019.
I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we briefly mentioned it on a past episode. The overall film, I mean, I think one of your points was the mental health side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's like it's not what's the word I'm looking, it's not glorifying violence by any
No.
means. It's telling you what can happen if someone is not treated properly, and or the institutions surrounding them again don't treat them properly or take them in, or like care for them. And like I said many times, and I'll keep saying it, it's like even though it's not the Joker from the comics, which is a different side of why the film is misunderstood, it's still the core of who the Joker is. Like all it takes is one bad day. That's
Right.
That's what it is. I mean, if you want to break the Joker down into one thing, in my opinion, it's that line. And that's what the film portrays. Yes, it takes a little bit longer than a day, but what are we going to do? Just have the film take place in 24 hours like 24 of the show, which is great, but no, that's not what we're doing here. And every time I watch it, I am like, by the time it gets to the point where he makes his first kill, I'm like, how did we get here from this guy who was waving a sign all happy-go-lucky? So both of those things I think are the two biggest parts that are misunderstood in the film. And yes, I think it is the older audience that has the side of the portraying violence and glorifying it, because people that I know very close have said that, like, oh, you watch that movie, like that, doesn't that film like portray killing people in a glorious light?
No.
And I'm like, no, if you watch it, you'll understand. It's the same thing as a classic movie that you've seen where your hero kills a bunch of people, but you cheer them on. Not that we're cheering Joker on, but it's the same concept.
Tell it to the people that think Paul Atreides is a hero. Like,
yeah, no, I'm excited to see Messiah, because when I found out what he truly is, I'm like, ooh, this just made Dune a lot more interesting.
he's a tyrant. He's an absolute tyrant. Like, he's a fascinating character. Dune is one of my all-time favorite franchises ever, period.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Paul Atreides is not a hero at the end of the day. Same thing
So-
with Joker. He's clearly not a hero. They're both villains.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and,
that's-
and the confusing aspect of the movie, too, is another side, like the Prometheus side, except this one has more validity to it, I think, is that it's just confusing and people can't get into it. Well, that's the point of the movie. He is a confusing individual in and of himself, and he's going through all these mental issues, but he's also the narrator, so like it's supposed to mislead you. So on 3 different facets of this movie, that just combines into a movie that I love and clearly won 2 Oscars, but I don't know. I think it probably could be debatably the most misunderstood film on my list, but I have it at 3 because I feel more passionate about the other 2, because I feel
That's
like
fair.
Joker stands on his 2 feet more than these other 2 do. But yeah, I feel like you'll echo for the first time on this episode what I've been
Yeah.
saying. I don't know if you guys have
Yeah, I
anything to
mean,
add.
I don't have
Yeah, I
much to
do.
add. We did talk about, like, we talked about this in the comic book movie draft, so, like, I'm not going to elaborate too much. If anybody wants to hear what I've said about Joker, you can go there, or even in the 2019 episode is on my list. But the one thing I'll say to add to what you said, you mentioned that, you know, he's somebody who is, you know, mentally ill, treated poorly, and the institutions failed him. And the movie's not even saying that people who are mentally ill, treated poorly, and are failed by the institutions are all going to become like Joker. That's
Yeah.
not what it's saying. You know, it's
Yeah.
saying it's using the character Joker to depict how somebody could end up becoming a figure like that. It's using the Joker as a vessel to show that path, to show how somebody this chaotic, this destructive, and this evil can grow to become that. Again, not saying, like, I can't emphasize enough, it is not saying all mentally ill people are going to become like the Joker.
Now,
And I don't understand why anybody would take that away from the movie.
so I don't particularly agree with people saying, you know, oh, glorifying violence and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. However, I think some people that have called this film a dangerous film is similar to what, like, some like Scream 2. It's, you know, life imitating art, imitating life. I think some people are taken aback by this film because of how real it felt, and it could actually happen, and somebody could see this movie who is mentally disturbed and could literally just snap and be said figure or use the Joker persona, and just it would just be bad publicity for DC, for the film, for filmmaking in general. There was a couple of critics that pointed towards that, which I could agree with. I don't agree with the whole, oh, you know, why would you like the movie glorifying? I don't agree with that. But it was, I could see this film very much was going into the more realistic aspect, and it really did go into the realistic aspect a lot. So much so that I think somebody could watch this and get an idea. The other thing as well is that we already did kind of have that with the tragedy that happened with The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I would just say that while you shouldn't necessarily compare life to art for all the time, because it is a movie. Ultimately, filmmaking is art, but it is more storytelling, and it is to entertain. But entertainment is subjective. It's entertainment to scare you, to make you cry, to make you yes, to make you fearful, to make you this, make you that. You say that's the beauty of filmmaking and storytelling in movies. But it very much did hit on something that was, especially the very end, where it's like this could very well happen. But then that's one aspect. The other aspect is, I agree somewhat with what you're saying, Jeff, as far as that, like, you know, don't judge this movie on basis of, like, oh, that's not the true Joker. You know, it's up to interpretation. So that I agree with that. However, when it's a mainstream movie and then your Joe Schmo says, oh, so that's the proper origin of the Joker, that's when it gets me a little bit like, no. That's not how it's supposed to be.
I see the point.
I think it could have been. It's definitely ambiguous. Granted, Joker 2 kind of throws that into the dumpster, but I think it could have been a little bit more ambiguous to an extent to really hone in on this guy is very much a bad person.
Yeah.
And because in reality, like, especially with the Joker story, like The Killing Joke, where he makes up his different storylines. Sometimes some of the storyline some of the story he talks about makes you very sympathetic towards him, but in reality, he's a bad dude. That film really borders the line between, is he really bad or is he not? Sometimes now at the very end, and for the majority of third act, okay, yeah, it's very much like he's not there. He is a bad person, but I don't know. I think they needed to really hone in on that more.
I
To
think the
really make
first
it be
half.
joke.
I think the first half makes you feel like, is he good or is he not? But by the time you're halfway through Act Two, he's, at least to me, from what I remember, he's evil. I mean, like, he,
Yeah.
spoiler territory. What happens to Penny? What happens to the small friend that he had? And like, even though nothing actually happened to him, the trauma that he left him with is unfathomable. Like that scene where he's like, "I'm not gonna do anything to you. Like you've always been nice." And
And that's
then
a great
obviously the
scene.
climax. Like I think those
Yeah.
three, they kind of determine the fact that he's gone. But yes, the first half I think is like, is he good? Is he bad? Or was he just treated bad? But that's again, that's the thing where it's like one bad day.
Hmm.
I see all the points and I agree with them, but I think a lot of people take it too far into saying the movie is just trash or shouldn't be
Yeah.
watched
No.
or should have never been made because of those reasons.
Yeah.
But it's like there's so many other movies too that, like McNeill said, where it's like Paul Atreides. That's one that you thought of, but there's other ones. Like there's always larger than life elements to sci-fi movies and stuff. But like there's plenty of other movies where violence is portrayed in a glorious way, if you want to put it that way, to these people, but those are accepted versus just because it's a villain doing it, it's kind of like not, so that's one of the main things of why I think it is misunderstood, but also the mental health side where people say it's not tasteful, but
Yeah.
I think it does portray in a way where it's like, no, it's not demeaning towards it. It's, if anything, it's trying to get more attention to that side and be like, let's not have this happen to people. Like, let's help everyone that we can.
Exactly.
The
That I
best
think was the
way that we
message of the
can.
movie. Yeah. Like
Really.
that's the message
I'm
I got
actually
from it.
I'm actually the opposite. I think that the director Todd Phillips is very. I will 100% always be behind my my overall title for this film, Dangerous.
Mm.
It will always be a film that I will call dangerous because I do think that yes, you could argue that he does, try to maybe shine a light on it, but I'd also feel like just with the way I don't want to get political, but like the politics and all that stuff, and it's kind of like F this, F that, this, and fight the power free, all that stuff. It's a dangerous movie, and I think that while it's one film that could be dangerous as far as one person could see this, so on and so forth. It's also another message that's kind of like, well, what are we doing here? What are we trying? What's the overall
No,
message?
yeah, I think Phillips was trying to get his own agenda
Yeah.
through, but
Hmm.
I do think that it was kind of quite heavily buried beneath some layers, whereas other films put
Yeah.
it at the forefront. But I get
Sure.
that too. I get that too. I think both sides are apparent based on how you watch the movie, which
Agreed.
is also what makes it even better because you can have different opinions on the same exact,
I like
like,
that it draws the debate. Yeah.
I love
yeah,
that too. This is great. I
yeah,
absolutely. I think, and that's what makes a film stand the test of time. It's definitely an Elseworlds film for me,
yeah.
and I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad it exists. I want DC to do more of these. Do more
Hmm.
Elseworlds while
Yeah.
also doing your proper DC.
We got
universe.
Clayface coming.
Yes, let's go.
But I do think though that with like the fact that it does draw the debate out and it has all these varying perspectives on it, I think only points toward the fact that like the debate at the end of the day always goes back to mental health.
Hmm.
And then it kind of just goes to, naturally, what's the solution for mental health in this country?
Yeah.
And so I think the message still gets its way through, whether it's convoluted or not, through discussion after the credits roll. But I think it's a great movie. And all right,
Solid.
so my number, what are we at? My number 3.
3.
Yeah. My number 3. My number 3 is a fairly recent film. It came out within the last 2 years. Another Netflix original. I've had a streak in the 2020s here where like there's like a Netflix original that comes out that I defend and that I really really like, and they come out toward the end of the year, and I know exactly where like why Justin is having this physical reaction he's having. John, let me know if you've seen this movie. I can tell Justin has. Leave the World Behind.
No, I have not.
Okay, I'd be curious to see what you think of it if you do eventually watch it. I know Justin does not like it. Okay, Leave the World Behind. I guess I'll explain this for John since he hasn't seen it. Are you familiar with it at all or not really?
I am not.
I briefly mentioned it to you one day when I saw it, but it wasn't that long.
It's a psychological thriller starring Ethan Hawke, Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali. Who else is in the movie? Those are like the three.
I remember.
Okay. So like I said, it's a psychological thriller, and like it's one of these movies that it keeps you guessing as you're going along, and something clearly isn't right. It feels like a post-apocalyptic thriller, or really an apocalyptic film rather. And so you start wondering like what's going on. Is it a natural disaster? Is it a war? Is it an invasion? Is it aliens? Like what's going on? And as you're watching it, you're constantly developing all of these theories about what might be happening. And once you get to the reveal, I'm gonna try to tiptoe around it as best as I can, but it pulls the rug out right from underneath of you, and it's not at all what you would expect. And it's yet another one of these movies that, like Don't Look Up, is pointing out the obvious of the division of America. I guess it's a theme that must resonate with me. I think it's because I'm somebody who finds myself in the middle in a lot of different, I guess, issues. And so it is something that I do think about because I look at the extremes and I just kind of roll my eyes. But like with Leave the World Behind, once you get to the end of it, or at least the third act, you start to realize what it's actually about. And and I talk about this in the 2023 episodes. So if you want to hear a little bit more like spoiler heavy information, go there. But like it feels like a scenario that could actually happen. And at the end of the movie, I was just like, oh, that's how easy something like this could happen. And again, not that this is exactly how anything like this would play out, but like, I think at the end of the day, it's a story that's pointing out like how easy it is to penetrate a divided nation and just fracture it, break it entirely to... I can't really say much else before I start getting into too much of spoilers, but like, it really struck fear into me about ideas I currently think about, and I didn't realize that's what it was getting at until the third act. And I think it's another one of these movies like Don't Look Up where it was too realistic for people. It was too on the nose about real life topics, real life, political, societal issues that like people were like, this is too real. I just wanted to turn my brain off, and this is not giving me that. This is a reminder of what could be, and stuff like that's interesting to me. I don't know if that's an age thing or if it's just my wiring, but I thought it was great, and performances are great and all that kind of stuff, yada yada. But we're talking about why it's misunderstood, and I just think it was a movie that I think people again were wanting to go in it I think they were wanting to go into it being just a traditional apocalyptic thriller, and that's not at all what it is. It is something that tackles real issues, and I thought it was great. So,
wow,
yeah,
you sold me. I gotta check that out for sure.
You gotta watch all three of mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I've actually seen one that John hasn't. Let's go.
Hey, it's okay. I got like 5,000 more that you haven't. Oh, no.
No, well, I don't want to add too much to that. Obviously, people know by now that I didn't really like the movie. I was so excited for it. I fit into the category of expecting something completely different than what I got. But at the same time, the first half of the movie, I'd say, is what I was expecting. But the second half was just not what I needed. Not even what I expected. I didn't need that. I needed something else to make this movie good for me. I think this, in 3 words, for me, is style over substance.
Hard disagree, obviously, but
yeah, obviously. But I think Ethan Hawke. I think the performances are great, like you've already mentioned. I think the score is pretty well done.
yeah,
Camera work, I think, is the star of the entire movie. That camera work blew me away. There's one shot where it goes from like up here down to the stairs and like outside. It's just nuts.
Dude, that's the shot that I was thinking of. Yeah, it's a great shot. Like, there's some really cool camera work in it.
Such well done cinematography, but that goes into my style over substance because it just didn't do anything in the end. Like, I'm trying not to get too passionate about it because me and my wife were so excited to see it. And like before I could even say my opinion, she was like basically, without asking me because she knows I don't like that, she was basically trying to ask me, can I turn it off before it ended? Because like by the time it got to, it's a pretty long movie, but by the time it got to like almost 2 hours, she was like, okay, there's nothing, like no answers. I need some answer to keep me invested. And I was like, stop, I'm trying to, maybe there is an answer. And there wasn't to me. So that's why I don't agree with you, but I see the points.
Or was it just an answer you didn't like?
There
because
was no
it's not
answer.
what you expected. You don't think there was an answer?
I don't think there was an answer in that movie, unless I'm completely forgetting how it ended. But I do not think there was an answer because I did not.
This keeps me intrigued. Wow.
Yeah, no,
Definitely.
you gotta watch it for sure.
I mean, there is a hint of ambiguity in it for sure in terms of like who's doing what's happening, but I felt like there was a pretty clear answer as to like what was happening. You know what I mean?
I think this is the same. I mean, very different movies for sure, but same feeling where that you have with Trap as I have with this, where I'm like, great concept, but it just is not delivered well for me.
Okay, that's fair.
But
yeah,
obviously Ethan Hawke's performance is bar none better than. I mean, anything he does is going to be better than what Josh Hartnett did in Trap. Not hating on Josh Hartnett, but just it's Ethan Hawke.
But Ethan Hawke. I mean, but also Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali as well. Like, so like,
all three
it's a great
great
cast. Yeah.
Oh,
and Kevin Bacon's in it. Kevin Bacon's in it a little bit too.
Yes, he is, and he's creepy to say the least, or to say the most. I don't know what's the better word to say. But John needs to watch it regardless.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, no, that's the one where I had a feeling you're gonna have that. Like, I'm glad you put it on there.
Yeah. Shout out to Aaron from Backseat Directing. He's like one of the only other people I know that actually likes the movie. So
yeah, he's the reason why I watched it because I was like, it sounds pretty interesting, and
it just came up in conversation. Like he told me he liked it, and I was like, yeah, finally somebody else that gets it.
And you love Ethan Hawke too, so
yeah, I do.
He's awesome.
Which Ethan Hawke is great. Yeah.
All right, number 2.
John's number 2. Yeah.
Yes. So just like the running theme, underrated film. Coded by this franchise that seems to never die. But I grew up with this movie, but I still think it's really good, even if it's died Spielberg. That is Transformers 2007.
Yo.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's misunderstood, man.
Agree and disagree. I agree that it's a good movie. Like, I think it's good. It's entertaining. It's, like, to me, the only good Transformers movie. I disagree that it's misunderstood. Because I think generally people would say it's a decent, entertaining popcorn action flick, and it's, like, nothing better than that or nothing worse.
Yeah.
It's just, like, it does its job. And I feel like most people agree about that with the first one.
I think it's more so because of how many sequels have come out, and they've all been varying degrees of quality, but also being underrated as well. I think it's been underrated since it came out in 2007, especially when you're talking about like dire old school Transformers fans, stuff like that too. I think this was a good way to introduce Transformers to the modern age, live action, and I think it's what we go to the movies for. You know, it's got spectacle, it's got the romance, it's got the action, the music, the special effects. You know, it to me, it's the only Transformers movie that I actually feel good watching. And I'm
That
invested
hurts
in
me.
from beginning. Yeah, it's true.
But
From beginning to end,
three.
from beginning to end, because I have problems with the third one too. But from beginning to end, it is a crowd pleaser in my opinion.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like it just. I feel like right now it's under the rug. People that really don't Transformers. We've seen them already. It's like no, okay, fair enough. But rewatch the first one. I think it's underrated. Come on, misunderstood.
Yeah, yeah. I think this
And
one
all of
out
its
of
Michael Bayisms, but
Yeah.
he's the most restrained. It still has Michael Bay in it for sure, but like I said, it's Diet Spielberg. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it is like
That's
kind
a
of
good way
what
of putting
Spielberg
it.
directed. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I see what you mean. Or maybe even like a little bit of J.J. Abrams kind of
Yes.
in there a little bit too.
Yeah, JJ like the ones that JJ Abrams, Joe Johnston, Joe
hmm
Dante, like those people, those directors that have that Spielbergian feel.
Yeah,
And I
I can
think
see that.
I think Bay really wanted to hone in on that.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think also, I mean, not too on the nose with what I'm about to say, but I think it's more of a looking back now because we kind of missed that era of Transformers. Not kind of,
Yeah.
we do, but
yeah.
I think at the time people were expecting Autobots, Decepticons all out, but it focused quite a bit on the human side. But I do think, for me at least, tagging on to the misunderstood thing, I think that's something that I actually have grown to love more and more and more each time I watch it, is the story of Sam Witwicky. And just the fact that he's just a dude and he's just thrown into this world. Like, if you really think about it, that dude's got some balls to go through what he does.
That's why I feel like the only one in my opinion that really brings that feel back, in my opinion, is Rise of the Beast. I know that's not an unpopular opinion, but I
That's
really do
actually
feel
the
like
only one I haven't seen.
that is check it out. I think for me it's Transformers 7, Rise of the Beast, and Bumblebee that are the three that feel good, and it's like this is three great Transformers. I would have been fine if those three would have been in. That's it. That would have been incredible. But I really feel like if you really compare and contrast it, Bumblebee, Rise of the Beast, and Transformers 7 are the best and have that feel in every single minute of each film that feel like this.
If you're trying to
The
go
other ones are
classic,
just
yes, those are the three
yeah,
that feel the most. But I would say the best
yeah,
are one, three, and Bumblebee.
no, really,
I
Yeah.
don't like 2 through 5. I do like Bumblebee.
yeah.
Well, you don't even want to hear my take on the actual ranking of Transformers because
Yeah, that's neither here or there. I could get into it too,
that's
but
a story for
Yeah.
another day. But
yeah,
I mean, no, I think that's probably your most interesting pick so far. But I do, yeah, I
Most
think it.
interesting.
yeah. I
Well,
don't.
because like I no, like what
Nah,
McNeill responded with, where he's like, I don't think it's misunderstood, but I think there are some things about it that are misunderstood, and I never would have thought
yeah,
about that if you didn't bring it up.
Yeah,
So,
right.
because I've joked about Revenge of the Fallen at the beginning of the episode.
That's a guilty pleasure.
It is a great guilty pleasure. But yeah, no, that's a
um,
solid pick.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So we're at. So that was John. That
John's
was your
number
number
two.
two.
Yep.
Justin,
Correct.
what's your number two?
So my number two is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So
Okay,
John,
man.
you want to start what you
Yes.
started earlier?
Okay, here we go.
By the way, McNeill
Um,
doesn't like the movie.
yes.
Yeah, if you can't tell by like my facial response to this, facial reaction.
So yes, so big diehard Star Wars fan, been since I was a kid. I think the sequel trilogy and just overall the Disney regime of Star Wars is one of the most disappointing, convoluted, unstructured things of media I've ever seen in my life. It's bad. Um, I was not really fond of Force Awakens. I thought it was a rehash of New Hope. I'll defend that. The Day I
It is.
Died. It's really there are elements that are great, but there are few and far between. Rise of Skywalker I've only seen once. I'm a Star Wars fan, and I've only seen Rise of Skywalker once. Are you kidding me? That's because it's dog shit. The Last Jedi. At first, it took me aback. It like I was like, whoa! And I was shocked by it. But as I keep going, revisiting it and rewatching it, I'm especially now, I'm like, wow, this had a vision from a director that wanted to take risks and propel the story further, as opposed to let's just shoot the film on film and use the same lenses that we use on the first Star Wars movie because nostalgia. The hell is this? I want proper story. I want proper development with the characters and move forward and have each character grow. And this film very much flips what your expectations are or were on their head. And I think for the better. Yes. Is it shocking that Luke Skywalker throws his lightsaber out and he's, very much a, crummy old man? Yes. But just like how Luke Skywalker was always that impulsive, boy wonder sometimes in the original films, now he's flipped upside down and he's what Ben Kenobi or what Yoda could have been, but they're optimistic, or at least try to be optimistic. He's just like, I've seen this all. I'm done. Jedi Order, this and that needs to be done. The Force is, should not be tampered with. All this stuff, and you see him grow through the film, through the eyes of Rey, and what's going on, with the Resistance and the New Order. Oh, the First Order, excuse me. And then same thing with Rey. And I so much prefer that she came from nobody, but she's a Palpatine. And that you just totally squished that. But it's like, there's something interesting. It's like, okay, finally, you have a character that, yes, how was she able to have the Force here and lightsaber battle? Yes, okay, I agree with that to an extent. But she's Force sensitive. Okay, great. But she's impulsive, like Luke, and naive like how Luke was. So you see, she helps Luke develop and bring that old school Luke back as well. Kylo Ren has a lot of development. Just he has an identity crisis like crazy, more so than Force Awakens and definitely the Rise of Skywalker, and you see his evolution. The fact that Snoke, you think he's the big bad, villain of this new trilogy, and he gets killed. Spoiler alert: he gets killed, and it's like, oh, okay. Talk about subverting expectations, and of course, destroyed because it's just a misformed clone of Palpatine. Great. So I mean, yes. If you can tell, like, you have a lot of things that happen in The Last Jedi that are like great stepping stones to something that could be amazing in Rise of Skywalker, and it unfortunately gets just completely destroyed because there was no clear vision. But I will stand by Last Jedi because there was a clear vision, and I loved that Rian Johnson very much had he wanted to show that there is hope for the new generation. And the older generation is allowing and accepting that, definitely with the Yoda scene. It's incredible. Why do the old ways? Let's look to the future. Look, let these young ones, craft this new future and rise above this threat. And I mean, everybody, Finn, Poe, and they all go through all of these arcs. At the very end, you have the resistance against the First Order, and there's hope, which is great. And And yeah, I just think it's underrated. I think it's misunderstood. I think that, it's very much one of those things where the expectations were subverted, and people just don't. And people, from what I've seen, people just don't like that because they have this other idea. But it's like, that's great and all, but you don't discount what the filmmaker's trying to do here, because it is great in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. There's some elements. Cancel Bite is definitely not the greatest, but it's not that long if you really think about it. But that's the biggest pain point for sure. And there's a couple things here and there that don't necessarily work. But I'll take a film that has a vision and has a couple of faults here and there over cash grab, aka The Force Awakens, and what the hell was that, known as The Rise of Skywalker.
All right, so I'll be the villain here again. So
we'll be the anti-hero.
Oh, yeah.
I'll try to be as we might be here for 20 years with this one, because you know how I feel like The Last Jedi is probably the most divisive film in movie fandom ever.
Really?
So I just think that's just the way it is. So like you, John, I grew up a massive Star Wars fan. I've been a Star Wars fan for basically as long as I can remember. The Force Awakens came out, and I was a huge fan of it. I was 15 when it came out. I don't know how old you were. You probably were a little older than me, I imagine. So
yeah, it was 10 years ago, so you're 18.
Yeah. Okay, so you're 3 years older. Okay, got it.
So crap. And you got a full-blown beard, more than me.
So I loved The Force Awakens when it came out. Saw it 4 times in theaters. Is it a rehash of A New Hope? Sure, but does it does it well? It offers new characters. It's not the most revolutionary movie of all time, but I was so excited to see what came next. And then The Last Jedi happened. I can confidently say that I'm not going to say it's not the most poorly made film in the Star Wars franchise. I would say that is Attack of the Clones. That movie sucks. But The Last Jedi...
I'm sorry. You just picked another one that John thinks is heavily underrated.
But The Last Jedi is my personal least favorite in the entire Star Wars franchise.
Oh, man, that's crazy, dude.
I feel like...
Rise of Skywalker exists, bro.
Yeah, but I mean...
Phantom Menace exists, bro.
Phantom Menace also exists.
Phantom Menace is, I think, decent.
At least you say that. But...
It's not great by any means. I mean, it's a movie. Yeah, it's got great parts. It's got bad parts.
Yeah.
Whereas I think The Last Jedi just... I have... Other than the visuals, I have no redeeming qualities for it. To me, it was like... I felt like Rian Johnson looked at everything that came before and undid everything in a very disrespectful way. If you take the end of The Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker, to me, is a character who's a traditional hero who sees the good in everybody. They had a concrete conclusion to what happened, and it's all undone because Luke Skywalker thought for just a second that Ben Solo was going to turn bad, so he thought he could just kill him and solve the problem. Like, what? Like, that's, to me, that is not Luke Skywalker. It's not Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker went through all of this trouble to save his dad, who was like the worst person ever besides Palpatine. Killed younglings, killed all this stuff, and he was he still saw the light in him. Luke Skywalker is the guy who sees the light in every bit of darkness in everybody, and then there's a little hint of darkness in Ben Solo. He's like, let's just kill him. And then he goes and becomes a hermit for the rest of... Kill him, no, I know, but he thought about it, and then that's why he goes in. That's why he goes into hiding. And I'm like, so that's to me, I couldn't wrap my mind around this is what Luke Skywalker did. And I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, Luke Skywalker should never have gone into isolation and blah blah blah. I think in the right set of circumstances it makes sense, but it wasn't warranted with like the situation was so minuscule, like what he noticed in him was so minuscule, and what he wanted to do was so impulsive, so out of character for Luke Skywalker. That's just me. It's not even just like the throwing the thing that, to me, the lightsaber over his shoulder, to me that was just like subverting expectation for the sake of it. Like everybody wanted to know, for example, like what was Luke Skywalker going to say to Rey? Who is Snoke? Who are Rey's parents? Everybody wanted to know all these questions, and it was just like subvert. And I felt like everything that I wanted to know was just a all the answers were a massive middle finger to The Force Awakens. And again, not that The Force Awakens is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because it's not. But The Last Jedi, I felt like it didn't really give me any answers. It was like, who's Snoke? Doesn't matter. Who are Rey's parents? Doesn't matter. Anybody can be a Jedi. And I was just like, but that's not what was established before either. I felt like the lore was inconsistent. I felt like all of the side quests that were going on with Canto Bight, I thought, who was that one character that like crashed her plane into Finn and then was just like, we saved the people we love, blah blah blah. And I was like, you almost killed yourself in the I don't know.
Oh, wasn't it the chick who
Rose, that was her name. I felt like she was a poorly written character. There was a really badass moment in the whole movie that I love this scene, which is where, it was right after they kill Snoke, which I did not like, and then I felt like what was going to happen, and this would have totally got me entirely on board for the movie, not entirely, but much more than I was in the first half. I felt like Rey and Kylo Ren, when they fought the guards in the throne room, I felt like they were going to join forces, but they didn't. And I felt like that was a missed opportunity, because then it just goes right back to square one again. And I was like, so we're not making any progress at all, like in any particular direction. And then...
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at what I'm about to say.
No, you're good. I don't know. Like, the movie to me was just... It was a bit... I've never been that disappointed walking out of a theater before. I wish I was somebody, like, I'm also not the type of person that's going to sit here and poo-poo on whether somebody likes The Last Jedi. Like, people are like, I hate The Last Jedi, you could never love it. I'm like, I mean, I like that you guys like it. You know what I mean? Like, I would much rather have liked it, but I also like that you guys have a different perspective on it. I've never been able to look past all the things all the criticisms that I do have of it. The reason I do prefer, I would take The Rise of Skywalker over it. I do think that it is a movie that is just like all of these sequels, or all the movies in the sequel trilogy are just a response to whatever came before it, because like John said, there was absolutely no plan from the beginning. The Last Jedi is a response to The Force Awakens and all the questions people had afterward, and then The Rise of Skywalker is just a course correction to go back on what J.J. Abrams would have done, even though he never knew he was going to do it in the first place. Yeah. They should have just let Colin Trevorrow do his thing, but
I agree.
I think that would have been better. I like The Rise of Skywalker for what it is, as just like entertaining garbage, but I also haven't seen it in a long time either. I watched it a lot when it came out, and I watched The Last Jedi a lot when it came out because I was in denial. But every time I went to see it, I hated it even more. And then I don't know, as a Star Wars movie, I felt like it was the most disrespectful to the lore that came before it. I get that if what it gave you was interesting and felt like, because people relate to characters in different ways. People see themselves in characters in different ways, and like just my preconceived notions that I have of Luke Skywalker and all the characters that were in the movie, I felt like it was not who they were. What I got was not who I see them as. And if people were okay with the direction they went, then like I totally get why The Last Jedi worked for you. So for me, it's crap. And I 50% of people I think would agree with me. So yeah.
No, I don't want to add too much, because it's already getting pretty late for you guys. I know for me it's prime time, baby.
Oh yeah,
but
true.
No, the one thing I'll say is everything you just said. I sound like Nacho, bro. Everything you just said is exactly how I felt the first few times that I watched it. And
Hmm.
I literally cannot tell you what changed my mind, what changed John's mind, and what changed Sam's
Mhm.
mind. It just happened one day when we all watched it together. The movie ended, and we were like, we literally looked at each other and we're like, wait, was that good? Did we miss something for all these years? And it just clicked, and then we just talked for like hours and hours about like what we've missed. I don't know. I cannot tell you what it is, but I would encourage you to watch it again, watch
Yeah,
the sequel trilogy again. This one the most out of any of them because it is the one that has the biggest chance for you to switch minds because we did,
I
and we
agree
were
with that.
so set in stone like this movie sucked. And I don't know. Every point you said, like we have the counterpoint now where it's just like no, but that's why it's great. Like it's hard to explain everything that's bad about it is why it's great when people talk about what's bad, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's
And,
hard to
and
really
that's the thing.
describe unless you experience it, kind of thing.
And one other point before we move on, I totally forgot to preface that. I'm glad Justin said that. Myself, Sam, and Justin, especially when I went to go see it the first time, I also was disappointed. Make no
Yeah.
mistake, I was very
Interesting.
disappointed.
We did
Yes, I
Okay.
was
not
very
like the movie
disappointed.
at all.
I,
Like
I had
maybe
pre I had
besides the
pre
throne room fight, like that was it.
I had pre thoughts. I had thoughts of what I think the sequel should go into, and is this and that, and whatnot. And I was like, what the heck? But I don't know, man. It was multiple times, and finally, it was that one time that we all three of us watched it together, and we're like,
It was like
this
2020 or
is not
2021.
shit. Yeah, yeah. It was like this is not shit. Actually, there's something here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So a lot of people have been burned out with MCU and DC lately.
mm,
And I felt like I was that way for a bit until this year, which I've talked about on the channel. However, I I've been beyond burned out by Star Wars. The fandom exhausted me. The sequel trilogy just put a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not a fan of anything they've done on Disney Plus. I think the best thing that they've done since Disney's acquired Star Wars is Rogue One.
Yeah.
mhm.
And I've just like I the way I would say is I'm a Star Wars fan of the originals and the prequels. I guess I'm more of a purist when it comes to Star Wars. I'm not a fan of what Disney has done with it. I'm so burned out by Star Wars that I haven't watched really any of them since the Rise of Skywalker. Well, no, I would say since probably 2020. Last time I did a Star Wars marathon. So it's been about 5 years since I've really sat down and watched Star Wars.
Hmm.
My taste in film has evolved quite a bit since then. I was 20 years old. I'm 25 now. I've had a lot different
Yeah.
life experiences through then. So maybe if I go back and do another Star Wars marathon, my thoughts might shift on any Star Wars movie. I think basically besides the originals, I think all of those are pretty set in stone, but for at least how I see them. But
I think
I,
that's what it might boil down to for us is because it had been a couple years, maybe 3 years since we had watched them together, and we had grown quite a bit film wise and just life wise in those couple years, and that changed things. But
yeah,
also, I would encourage you when you rewatch, especially the sequel trilogy, but definitely Last Jedi specifically. I would encourage you to watch it through the lens of a director who was trying, like John said, trying to do something new for the franchise instead of just kind of remaking Empire, for the sake
yeah.
of black.
I think I still have a hard time seeing it as somebody who wasn't just subverting expectations for the sake of it. But I am willing to
It
go with an
was,
open mind next time I watch it.
yeah. I'd be curious. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been a couple times since I rewatched it, and I've stayed liking it more and more each time now since I did, since that first time that I liked it.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. It could just be a gap of years that'll change your mind, or you could stay the
might
same.
be.
Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Who
We'll
knows?
see.
And then who knows? You might rewatch the original saga again, and Attack of the Clones might be like, hold on, maybe it's not that shit. No.
No, I think I'm gonna stay with it. That opinion is solid. But I mean, and my Revenge of the Sith is always been my favorite. We'll see if that changes. But yeah, so far, John, with you've had your 4 picks so far. We're 3 for 1 with how I've received them. Justin, have I liked any of yours?
Joker. That's it. You're 1 for
Joker.
3 with me.
Yeah.
No,
So
1
it's the
for
inverse.
4.
Okay. All right.
And then with your picks, John hasn't seen any of them, and I've only seen one of them, and I didn't like it. So you were smart. You picked ones that we don't like, or we don't have an opinion on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the next two for sure, I know we'll stir something up a little bit, positively or negatively. But all right. So Justin, we're at your number 2, right?
No, we're at your number 2. My number 2 was Last Jedi.
Oh,
John's
right.
number 3.
Okay. All right. So my number 2, I think, is both of your number 1s. And if that's the case, we'll just hit it right now, which is Man of Steel.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, no.
There we go.
I really thought that was going to be
We're in
number
unison.
1,
We're in unison for once.
Look at that.
Do you want to save to talk about that at number 1? Do you want to tell us your number 1, and we can just kind of talk about everything together?
Sure, let's do that. I'll get my number 1 out of the way then. I'll get my number 1 out of the way, and I'll try to be quick with it. But I don't really know. I think Justin does like this movie, and I don't know where John stands on it. My number 1 is Eternals.
That's actually been very much. I've been very much looking forward to watching that. So to figure out if and when.
This is perfect. We're talking about 2 movies that fit in that same category. Superhero movies, underrated. Chloe Zhao, the director of Eternals, loves Man of Steel by Zack Snyder, so she was heavily inspired by Man of Steel to create Eternals.
I forgot about that.
This is freaking perfect. So
yeah.
Talk about both of them.
I'll talk about Eternals quickly, and then I know we'll be on Man of Steel for a bit, even though this is definitely the longest episode we've ever done. It's totally fine. So just
for you.
Hey, McNeil's on your time, so he's in the same boat.
So, we'll try to be quick. So, Eternals is a movie that in a nutshell, I think that the Marvel fan base is not the target audience for.
No.
I think when you have people like me, like I love Marvel, I love comic book movies, I also like prestige filmmaking. I love award season, I like Oscar bait movies. I like both. I'm a huge, you could kind of classify me under both of these types of film lovers, if you will. Mm-hmm. So Eternals is a very philosophical, existential comic book movie that kind of tackles themes about faith and loyalty, but also free will versus destiny. And it's got a very divine nature to it. It's very spiritual in a way. It's thought provoking. It's all of these things. It's all these philosophical things, and it's a comic book movie about these godlike figures. Same thing with Man of Steel. Godlike figure, philosophical, existential, similar ideas. And the way Eternals does it is it takes these 10 characters. So there's a lot of characters, but we're accustomed to that at this point. We've got Infinity War and Endgame and X-Men. X-Men started with all these characters. People complain about Eternals starting with too many characters. I'm like, shut up. What are we talking about? This is another team up movie, just like all the other ones. It gives you everything that you need to know about all these characters, and it does it in a way that's interesting. It weaves the timelines, because the Eternals spans all of human history. So 7,000 plus years. I think that's what the movie does. And it's just, it weaves back and forth between present day and how the past has shaped where each of the characters are in the present day. So it gives you information about each of these characters in a very timely manner. Some more than others, sure, but that's to be expected when you have an ensemble of 10 characters. But I think it does it in a way that's interesting, because it's once you actually start having these questions, oh, what happened with it? Oh, okay, boom, answer delivered, and I liked that. I just thought it was so it was so interesting, and I felt like it wouldn't have worked if it were told in a chronological order. And a lot of people wanted it to be chronological. And I'm like, well, then you wouldn't have gotten information at the point when you actually needed it, because then you get information, and then you get to a point in present day, you're like, I already knew this, It just wouldn't have worked. So, and then the last thing about it is that it is a movie that has a slightly more feminine approach to it. The lead character, Circe, she's feminine. All right, she's a woman. That's what I meant to say. she's a woman,
little
but
bit
you've
feminine.
got Ajak. Ajak is Salma Hayek's character. She's like the original, leader of the group. She's also a woman. The director is a woman. So you have a much stronger female voice than you do in most other Marvel movies, Captain Marvel aside, which I don't think works, but I think I think Eternals does work. And so I also think, like, when you've got this philosophical comic book movie paired with it having a more of a feminine voice, I don't think it is packaged for the target audience. Yeah, and that's why it got a lot of negative feedback. People are like, oh, this movie sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't really have any reasons why, just too many characters, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm like, what?
They blamed it, or they correlated it to Justice League 2017 immediately, how that was rushed. But this is a
very well thought out movie
in the MCU, and it's a long movie. Like, it has time to breathe, and I think the pacing is well done, and I think it does introduce each character solid enough to enjoy it. Like, yeah. So and the music too, dude. Ramin Djawadi.
That score, that is my favorite score in the entire MCU, hands down.
I would agree if Winter Soldier didn't exist.
That's a good one too. I love Ramin Djawadi's score in Eternals, but yeah, dude, like, I think it's a fantastic movie, and yeah, like, people comparing it to Justice League is like that's obscene. That is absolutely. I mean, the Justice League version of Justice League we're talking about, not Zack Snyder's Justice League, but like, I mean, that's absolutely ludicrous. I mean, it is a fantastic movie.
Dude, you watch, like, John, you watch Eternals, you will see the inspiration from Man of Steel, or not just Man of Steel, but the inspiration she had from loving Snyder's filmmaking style, because I don't know, it feels like she just took what he did, MCU-ified a little bit, but also still kept a lot of her stamp on it, because it does feel very different from an MCU film, similar to Fantastic Four, but not like the period piece, because it does take place over lots of years, like, time span, but it's not like a specific whatever time frame Fantastic Four was.
Yeah.
But it feels out of time in the sense of the MCU, to where it's like it's on its own, which is one of the things I love about it.
Yeah, you can experience Eternals as a standalone film. You have some references to Thanos, or one reference to Captain America and Iron Man. Very, very. It's in a trailer, like, it's there for a joke, but like, you could experience it on its own thing. Yeah, but also, like, you don't need to know about the Celestials and the rest of the MCU it clearly defines what the Celestials are more so than anything else. So, like, you could watch it on its own terms, and if you wanted to treat it as an Elseworld thing, you honestly could, because they're not coming back at this point because nobody liked it, besides
which sucks.
You and me, and I think Aaron. So
Aaron liked it too.
Yeah, and also Kevin Feige loved this movie, had so much faith in it, he thought it was going to be an Oscar contender. I honestly can understand why he thought that, because it had that, like, it has
visually
that,
stunning.
Yeah, they filmed it on location. The cinematography is gorgeous. The colors are gorgeous. Everything about it just looks so, like,
and super speed is presented so well in this movie.
The
like,
best.
I love the Flash stuff, but like, it probably is the best representation.
Wait,
of
like Ezra Miller Flash stuff, like, with
no,
stupid,
like,
okay,
Flash and like the show and other speedster content. But
this is definitely the best
the
speedster.
Best.
Yeah.
Wow, I'll have to check it out. That's for sure.
It's fantastic. Okay, so going from Eternals to Man of Steel. My number 2, both of your number 1s, Man of Steel. Justin and I have talked about Man of Steel quite a bit so far in the last few episodes, especially with we talked about it in the top 5 scores, and we've talked about it in the comic book movie draft. So I mean, I've kind of already offered my thoughts on Man of Steel and why I find it to be underrated. I think it's kind of an Elseworld take on Superman, and how it puts Superman in a world where he's conflicted. He's like, he has a deep love for humanity, but he also, knows that half of the world doesn't think he has any right to be here, that, you know, they think he's too overpowered, they think he's dangerous, they want him out of here. And then the other half, you know, like some of them are like worshiping him, some of them think he's a, you know, he's a hero. So it's interesting because it kind of puts Superman in a world where, like Zack Snyder said it, like if the revelation ever occurred that Superman existed, it'd be the greatest event in human history.
And he succeeded with that too.
Yeah. And I think he did a great job bringing that to life. And I think that, like it's a great depiction of a more conflicted approach to Superman, and I like it just as much as I like the other approaches, like the more traditional approach to Superman. So that's kind of where I stand on it. I know Justin kind of feels the exact same. So John, what do you have to add to that?
I mean, I feel like I'm in the same boat with you guys. I think that this is the more so than Superman Returns, which I think is underrated. But I think
Agreed.
I think Man of Steel is the response to Batman Begins. So let's put Superman in a realistic setting, and let's try to, you know, yes, it's cosmic, it's you know, alien stuff like that. So it's realistic, it's hyper realistic, you know, it's. But at the same time, it's like I really feel like they brought the realism in you know, to the forefront, and you really believe in you know, every frame in this movie. You really believe that, you know, Clark Kent is Superman or has these powers, and just the overall world building, the storytelling as well. It's, you know, it's written by David S. Goyer, so it's not a full-blown origin story. You get little hints of the origin story, and I'm glad that Goyer didn't go the same route he did for Batman Begins. It's still very much just, it's more flashbacks, and only a couple of flashbacks. Not a full. It's not like, you know, the entire film has flashbacks. It is very much in the first act for the most part. After that, there's no flashback.
Well, it's the same structure as Batman Begins, if you think about it.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just think I like the way I really love the direction of this film. I love what Snyder did. First and foremost love that he decided to do a lot of handheld.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's very interesting to do that. That he did that, and it feels almost like documentary style. It almost feels like you're the cameraman and you have the camera on your shoulder, and you're just like,
makes you feel like you're there.
Holy crap, what's going on? You you're doing this now. Look at this.
And like
look at
the really quick
great.
zooms, like when you got something falling from the sky and it just zooms in real quick. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Very
Super
much
cool.
so. I love the direction. I love the Chris Reeve Superman. You know, I think Superman 1 and 2 are incredible.
Yeah.
But this is a different interpretation, and I'm okay with that.
We had to do something different at that point because we had the Christopher Reeve version, which started out great, and then started to tank with 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Brandon Ruth came in, and it was just a continuation of said Superman. So we kind of had to do something different. And at that point in time, comic book movies were kind of going into a darker territory. Like The Amazing Spider-Man was a little darker than the Raimi trilogy. Batman had gotten darker. Iron Man was very realistic, you know. Winter Soldier was coming out the next year. Yeah, X-Men was getting darker. Captain America was getting darker. Everything was getting darker. Why not with Superman as well? Like, that was the trend. That's what was popular. For some reason, it just didn't resonate with audiences the way everything else did. And I think it's because Superman is that Boy Scout, and they wanted that, and that's not what they got. It's another movie where people were judging the movie for something that it isn't. Like, they painted him out to be a god-like figure. They're using kind of like, Christ-like imagery, basically.
The biblical allegories in that movie excel.
Yeah,
excel the movie to a level that I think people aren't willing to accept, honestly.
And it kind of goes hand in hand because it's like, it's Superman. He's all powerful. So why not compare him to a god?
Absolutely. And I think I think Snyder conveyed that very well. Another thing though is we don't want to necessarily judge this film with what that DC universe was trying to do.
Mhm.
However, the Boy Scout element is still there.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
It's throughout the entire movie, and especially at the very end, where he's talking to the colonel. He's like, "I grew up in Kansas. You know, like you can trust me." Like there were setting up like this. He's not Superman yet.
Yeah.
You know, he's very much not Superman. You can tell. So
early
like
stages.
They even
It's the
talk. They
early
talk about
stages.
the S standing for hope.
exactly.
You know,
So like
it's just
this
it's
could have
more
been.
subdued.
Exactly, and this paved the way for future stories and eventually having the true Superman.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like I don't know. I think people were way too strung up on the Chris Reeves of it all, which fair enough. And Chris Reeves is Superman for sure, but I was so on board with this new interpretation, and it's like
Yeah.
we were gonna get there. Don't worry, guys. Granted,
Yeah.
we didn't, but still,
He started off
yeah,
in a more brooding way.
absolutely. Not to mention I'm all over the place, but like the villain. I mean,
Zod,
the
yeah.
best villains, and the scariest villains are the ones that think they're doing right. Like, a la Magneto, as well.
Thanos.
Definitely got Thanos as well,
Yep.
and General Zod played brilliantly by Michael.
And
Shannon.
hopefully Doom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, but what an incredible villain, incredible character.
Yeah.
The
Because you
the
understand.
choices. Yeah, exactly. The choices that Shannon Snyder made with his character too, and the nuances, and you really understand why he's doing this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, just and all overall too, like the world building with like Krypton, the opening 15 minutes, that's incredible.
So
And-
good.
Yeah.
And also subvert expectations and do something different, as opposed to you had a whole ecosystem there, and it's not the traditional crystal looking
I loved
planet,
it.
which I love. But this was something different, and I was okay with it. Actually, very okay with it. I loved it.
It felt more
Um,
mythical.
It felt
Yeah.
more mythical, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it did feel very realistic as well, of like, what if this other planet had a whole ecosystem, had animals and stuff like that. Like it's
Mhm.
very well done. And I mean all the other characters, Jonathan Kent, Kevin Costner and Jonathan Kent, Diane Lane as Martha Kent,
All great.
they did, they have amazing chemistry, and the performances are awesome. Henry Cavill was great as Superman,
Yes.
as Clark Kent, and I just wish that he had, more time. But
Yeah.
it's done, it's over with. But hey, we look back on the fondness of Man of Steel, and that's like
Oh yeah.
that's Henry Cavill
Yeah.
as Superman.
Yeah.
I'll always be happy we
yeah.
got Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. Yeah, I mean everybody else, and everybody else was great. I mean, Amy Adams as Lois Lane. She was a great new interpretation of Lois, but also felt like Lois very much so. Just that no bullshit, go getter, skeptic. Is still very much there. And yeah, I mean the action's great too, and just the
Feora.
way Rochelle Feora is an underrated henchwoman. I think
Yeah.
she was great, and especially the actress. She really got in shape and really got serious about that role, and you can tell, man, like I think sometimes she's more imposing than General Zod. Sometimes she has really no freaking care in the world, and has that crazy god complex.
Yeah.
Which is scary, and you could see how scary it is when she just like goes bare line, just goes like flicks humans
Oh, dude.
like that almost. Like
Talk
it's
about
insane.
portraying and that's the same thing with Eternals, but like Man of Steel obviously is the GOAT for it.
Mhm.
But talk about portraying powers in a terrifying way, where super speed is just like in an instant she just kills 12 people.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
highly
Yeah.
trained soldiers that you can't do anything because it's a Kryptonian superpowered
Yeah.
god basically.
Mhm.
And that goes into the other point with the destruction and the killing of Zod, but also the killing of massive amounts of people in the climax. It's like that's the whole point of the movie is what if gods were amongst men, in this case Superman, but also with Superman becomes his arch nemesis Zod. Like, yes, I know it's Luthor, but like from Krypton, it's Zod, and it's like, what do you expect an evil Kryptonian to do? Just not kill anyone? Like, do you expect Superman to, off his first big battle, to instantly be able to take the battle away? And I mean, BVS corrected it, which people laugh at, and I'm like, no, I mean that makes sense too, but it's like, I don't know, all these things that people complain about in Man of Steel, they have explanations that are very valid. People are just not willing to accept them because it's a darker take. But also, biggest misunderstood scene in the biggest misunderstood movie for me and John, which is Man of Steel, and obviously your second, is the freaking tornado scene. I mean,
yes, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that made sense.
That makes, I don't want to say makes the entire movie, but it's a huge portion of the movie that adds to the relationship between Clark and Jonathan, but also adds to the entire essence of who Superman is in that world. Like he believed that the world was not ready, and clearly the world still wasn't ready when Superman finally showed up.
It was consistent.
Like, it followed through in what it said it was going to do.
Yeah, and to add on to what you were saying, like the exploration of Superman having to face the consequences of his actions in the third act of Man of Steel was also interesting. And, you know, talking about the tornado scene, that was controversial and people thought it was ridiculous, which, whatever, you know, like I feel the same way about the Martha scene, which is another conversation that's, you know, that's for another day. But, like, to me, it makes sense. And I feel like that's...
you think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's good, too. I thought you were laughing at it. I know John is a little bit less, but John's not as bad as most people, though.
I'm not, but we can continue with the.
Dude, I mean, come on, the GIF. Are you kidding me? And it's Kevin Costner. Like, I don't know. I mean, yes, I get
it. Definitely made sense for that narrative as well. Yeah, it's. But that's the thing.
And the bus scene too.
People just were not ready for it. That's the problem.
No, and that's the thing I was going to say earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt. Was I would love to be in a world where I could say this was a film made ahead of its time, but this was a film made that would never be in a proper time to be made, honestly. Like, I don't think, besides people like us who share our views on this movie and the take of it, I don't think this movie could have been released ever and it be taken completely well. Like,
I think you're right.
Because of the fact that it's Superman.
I think you're right. It wouldn't work today because right now people want more of the comic booky traditional take on a comic book movie, and then I think the only era where it really could have worked was like the end of Phase 3 Marvel, where I think if it had come out around the time Infinity War did, I think that's the one chance it would have had to be somewhat successful. But really, you know, it didn't work in the 2010s. Why else would it have in any other particular year? Definitely wouldn't have worked in the 2000s or clearly anything before the 2000s. So it just, you know, I think you're right. And the only reason I put it below Eternals was because I think Eternals is more criticized than Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel has a pretty loud fan base. It just also has a equally loud I guess haters. Yeah. So but Eternals pretty much the majority does not like it, and so that's why I put it at number 1. But you know,
that makes sense.
I like both of them basically equally almost because I love both movies. But John, everything you said about Man of Steel, very well said. I definitely know that Justin and I agree with everything you said.
Just trumps every evil thing that could ever be said.
It's so
good. John, by the way, I've come to the conclusion it is the best score that I've ever had the pleasure of listening to.
It's on my top 5
score episode. Like, I think it is. Like, I know I've said The Revenant or Inception, obviously, but I don't think anything can reach the level that Man of Steel has reached.
Edward
especially
Scissorhands,
with listening
man.
to.
Nice.
I haven't seen it, but I don't know. Superman, bro.
Nice.
Hans Zimmer, bro.
But yeah, no, guys, this was great. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
this. This is obviously the longest episode ever. But you know, if you guys listening made it to the end of this, thank you very much for sticking around to the very end, and congrats. You made it really far. But yeah, these are some really great conversations we had. I really enjoyed the debates. I really enjoyed the different perspectives here, and this was a lot of fun. So listeners, comment down below in the comment section. Let us know what you think of each of our picks. Whose side are you on each of these movies? Or is there anything that we got wrong? Anything that you think we missed? Please let us know. We'd love to have. We'd love to further the conversation with you in the comments. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple, wherever. And you can follow these guys at Cinema 3D as well. And any final thoughts, guys?
No, I think this was a lot of fun, and
Absolutely.
a lot of great conversations we had.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
for sure. All right. Well, until next time, we'll catch you guys later.